Click.
Let's get it.
Boom.
Let's
It's
get it
going.
going. Awesome.
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 Well, Van, yeah, tell me where you're at in Australia, right?
Yeah, I'm in Australia, man. Australia. We're just at my house here. I don't own this house, just renting, but I've got the pool in the background. It's very Australian. First thing I noticed that, because you're in America, right?
Yeah, I've do you know the state called Idaho?
Yeah, Idaho. Yeah, I think I've, heard of those states from like Steve Cook talking about some of the better states in America that people don't talk
Fuck is
about.
from Idaho. Do you know that?
Um, he talks about how it's a decent place and there's a lot of mountains and stuff like that, isn't there?
Yeah, yeah. I think that because Steve Cook is from central or southern Idaho, I believe. Don't quote me on
Yeah,
that. But
yeah, it
he's from
makes sense to me as well.
Yeah. I'm up in northern Idaho. There's lots of mountains and beautiful lakes and stuff, especially summertime.
Dude,
But
I would love to come to Idaho because like that's what I'm about. When I traveled in Vietnam recently, we spent 3 weeks in Vietnam and it was like Halong Bay, mountains, just waterfall chasing, beautiful beaches and stuff. And we went up to the top of this incredible, like the bus drove through the clouds. That's how high this mountain was. And it was a little French colonial city inside Vietnam that still had that French influence on it. It was so beautiful. But yeah, I'm in Australia. If you kind of like Australia's a quite a big place
yeah.
for the not really as much population as like China and Asia, America and stuff, but quite spread out. But everyone lives around all the edges of
I was
Australia.
gonna say, do you get to go surfing and everything any day you want?
I went surfing this morning.
Oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah. I'm
yeah.
jealous. It just snowed. It was a blizzard here last night.
What?
Yesterday it snowed about, I want to say about 3 inches.
Oh, so it's snowing over your way.
Yeah,
So everyone's like, this dude in Australia's got his shirt off and he's by the pool. It's not always like this though. Like, I work really, really hard and there's a few days where I work at a gym called Snap Fitness. Do you have Snap Fitness in America?
yeah, we have the snap chain over here for sure. Yeah.
Oh, awesome, awesome. So I'm one of the main trainers out of the other three at Snap Fitness, and I basically look after people with injuries to do with hips, lower back, spines, shoulders, more complicated injuries because I've gone through a motorbike accident and
Oh,
I got bulging discs in my lower back and I used to be into martial arts and like I understand people's pain and everyone can be educated at university to deal with a lower back injury like a disc bulge, but the best coaches I've seen are people that have had them themselves or they've worked with a lot of athletes that have had that injury, not just paperwork, not just university degrees.
yeah. Yeah, no, I agree. I think that you know the situation best if you've actually been in it because you actually care, right? Like you actually have to care and fix it yourself for yourself. So it translates. And I noticed that I don't know if you notice this, but a lot of if your clients will be related to your interest and your problems that you've had in the past. Do you see that?
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Like, personal trainers are actually life coach psychologists. If you want to be a good trainer and actually make it through this, we're converting into a new age at the moment where everyone's an online trainer and everyone has an app and your phone can train you and all this. So it's like you can't just be counting reps as a trainer anymore. You have to know and you have to relate to each person, and then you have to really dig down on their pain and their why. And every single time they seem to slow down or they want to quit with notifications or emails or online programs, it's just we haven't found a way to really, I say, like hit people in the feels, like really dig down to people's pain. And when you find their pain and you bring them back to it when they want to quit, we're bringing it further away from where they were and more into happiness. And I think there will always be a place for trainers, but we're right now we're filtering out shit trainers that aren't good and we're trainers and just have to increase your value really well.
Yeah, no, I agree. And now that it's so easily accessible to create your presence as like an online trainer, right? There's a lot of them now, and it's a growing industry. Like the fitness industry is still just growing so fast.
Yeah.
But I agree that there's a lot of shit trainers because they.
I feel, I feel that there's more people wanting to be trainers than more people that are wanting to be fit. So, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
The bubble is going to burst, like they talk about it in you know, Bitcoin and crap like
Yeah.
that. But I mean, like the online trainer that's actually a model who's a fake online trainer,
Yeah.
that's going to burst. And people like Jordan Syatt has really expressed why he's doing so well, because he's not like a model looking guy, and he's not super muscular and doesn't have this like perfect physique, but he's incredible and has a VIP circle of online coaching and does really, really well. And I look up to him as business minded, using like old school techniques with new techniques and keeping it very, very logic and understanding.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no. I agree 100%. And I think that the filtration of the social media at first will create that bubble, but exactly, you're right, that the people who actually care and are going to be successful will remain, and the rest of it will blow over. Jordan Syatt, good guy to bring up. I've had him on, like I was telling you. And the best thing that you can do to be a good online trainer, or a trainer in general, like somebody to help somebody, a coach, is to give as much free content, good, as much free value that can actually help somebody as you can. Because like you said, it's a psychology game. I mean, this isn't about losing 30 pounds anymore. This is about, building self-confidence, building, what we had we had a podcast last week with another online trainer, and he called it, "What's your why?" Right? Like, what is
Yeah,
the reason why you started? You know what I mean?
yeah, and I mean, it's funny that we brought up about surfing before, because I'm on the east coast, the southeast coast of Queensland,
Mm-hmm.
which is, if you know where Gold Coast, Brisbane area is, it's that area of Australia. So it's quite warm right now. I think we're in like the end of our summer, and you're in the end of your winter. Is that correct?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, so we're opposites. And when I came over to America, I noticed that, you know, that it was just completely different. Like, even though we both speak English, the culture between America and Australia is very diverse. And the culture between not even America, like when I say America, people from Australia who haven't traveled America properly, they're like, oh, America. And it's like, no, there's states that are completely different. There's cities within 3 hours apart that have a completely different culture, a completely different second, third language. When I was in New York, I heard more people speaking every other language other than English. It was
Yeah.
it was crazy. And there's people I met in New York. The guy I stayed with in an Airbnb, this American Chinese couple. They didn't even no one had like a kitchen. They don't cook. And like, to have a house this big in America, like, people might watch this and think that I'm like making good money or something. And it's like, not really. Like, I just rent a room out of this place. And in Australia, the houses are just bigger, especially in my area. I'm not in the city. We're on like a small coastal section of town. So it's not expensive to live. I work hard and whatnot, but definitely not rich. So if anyone's watching this and thinking, oh, this guy's showed off in Australia, cool in the background, it's like, no, I struggle just like everyone else. And I grew up struggling, very, very poor, with a single mother, and she decided to leave my father when he was an alcoholic when I was 2 years old. So we struggled, but when I went to America, the people in New York living in boxes, like literally living in boxes, like beside each other. And some of them have never left New York before. And it blew my mind, man.
Yeah, no, I think that's a great point. Is the culture difference in the U.S. at least? I don't know how diverse it is when you go to Australia and going to different parts, but when you go to New York, I've never been to New York yet. I plan on going within the next year, but like you said, the little boxes and the cost to live in one of those little boxes. Yeah, it's insane. Like, it's the amount. It's probably like three times, if not more, the amount to live in one of those little boxes than would live or to have a whole house here. Because
Yeah.
we're kind of in the same situation, like in Idaho, in northern Idaho at least, the cost of living isn't very much. So there's a lots of people that like to actually retire up in a city called Coeur d'Alene. And so there's a beautiful lake, and you can buy property on the lake and stuff. This still costs a lot, but not anything compared
Yeah.
to, New York City and stuff like that.
And you're actually getting like land around the house,
Right.
not like a fence against the house. Like, even if you're in like suburbia outside New York, your house is like house on house on house with like window to window. Like you're in the toilet and you can listen to the other person in the toilet beside you. It's like, I can't live like that. So as much as when I traveled through America, I absolutely loved it. I competed in the WBFF LA comp, and then I went to like from LA up to Hollywood. Didn't like Hollywood, man. I hate being a hater, but it's like, it's not what it seems. And you've got like the rich are really rich, and then you've got poor really poor. And I mean, in Australia, we try to keep it more diverse. The middle section is more quality of life. You don't have to be like really rich to have a good life. Like right now, where I'm living, what I'm doing, I'm smart about what I do. I don't drink. I don't waste money. I'm picky about where I eat. I manage my money really well. But I mean, if I was living in like LA, Hollywood area, I'd either be having to make a lot of money or I'd be living at that like low level. And it's painful to see that on TV and like YouTube videos of people in LA, it's like, it looks really nice. And LA is a beautiful place, but it just wasn't my thing then. And I think I would prefer somewhere like Idaho, somewhere that's more in the country, and like just like people are down to earth in LA, but it's just they grow up differently. Like someone in the country, like I'm from living on a big farm in Australia. 1 hour north of this area is like a little town with a tiny population. I'm talking the population of probably like a quarter of like a small town where you are, and just grew up on a little farm. And so I'm from that area. And as much as I didn't value it when I was that age, I was like, I'm packing my shit. I'm going to town. Like I'm going to move to the city. And then like Brisbane's the closest city from here. And I go there I went there with Aaron Sansoni. And have you heard of the chick that owns Boost Juice? Have you heard of Boost Juice?
Mm-mm. Is she based in the US?
Boost Juice is like this big, what's that?
Is she based in the US?
No, she's Australian, but they've got like pictures of like famous American people at Boost Juice, and I think they've got a few over in America. Basically, it's just fruit smoothies as a franchise, and she's worth like 500 million or something. It's incredible. But I went to her entrepreneur event and listened to her talking about business and how she failed like 100 times and had to get money. She had to borrow money to fund her first shop. But basically, when I was in Brisbane in that area, it was just walls and buildings like a city, and I couldn't deal with it. I had to get back to where I live here, go straight to the beach, and just like baptize myself into the ocean to get that kind of the grounding. And that's another thing I talk about with my online ebook is you need to find something to ground you. And I think in a place like Idaho, it wouldn't take long, like getting your car and just for a 5 or 10 minute drive, you better find something where it has more nature involved. Is that right?
Yeah, you could pretty much go 5-10 minutes in any direction. You'll be finding yourself no city. You'll be out in the middle of nowhere. So
maybe I should make a trip over to Idaho.
You should, man. Yeah, I would love it. You let me know when, and we'll set you up because
make some workout videos.
Yeah. Well, I was gonna ask you. So you said that you really find yourself managing your time, your money, all that kind of stuff. You know, what has that done to help you with your actual fitness potential and like your health? Because a lot of people think that it's just the nutrition, and the exercise, but in reality, what has maybe changed your daily habits done for you?
Well, that's a great question, and that came from why I wrote the Mind and Body Transformation ebook, because I was sending out meal plans and workout programs to people, and they were always like, how do you fit this in? Why do you want to eat this? Or how do you say no to social events? Or how do you get time to do this and that? And I'm like, everyone has 24 hours. Like, you hear it all the time. Like, I listen to a little bit of motivational speaking, but it's really good to remind people who are listening to this. It's like, Oprah Winfrey has 24 hours, man. Like the president of the United States, maybe not the current one. Well, he still has 24 hours, but you know what I mean? Like Obama is one of the most motivational people I've ever seen in any political situation because of what he had to get through. And I mean, he had 24 hours, wife, kids, and he still changed so many things. You've got people that I look up to, like Steve Cook, who's a really big guy in the fitness industry. And they've all got 24 hours in a day. And how are they getting so much more done? And I can tell you right now, they didn't have people running their business for them in the first few years. And they probably still do the major, really important things themselves because you need that personal touch. I've gone towards having like a PA. or someone to help out, or a team of people. And I've more tried to bring it down to just myself, and then get someone to help with graphics and stuff like that, because you need that one-on-one time. So after everyone was asking me these things, it got to the point where I was like, a meal plan and a workout program, just people know they need to eat healthy. People know they should train. Like, you can ask anyone you see on the street, Australia, America, Europe, wherever, and you can interview them and say, which foods out of this picture is going to make you healthy? Like fast food or healthy chicken, rice, whole foods, vegetables. They're going to choose the chicken and vegetables. You can say to them, hey, what are you going to burn more calories with? It's like watching TV on the couch or going for a walk, or what's better for you. That everyone knows the answer. It's like people can be certified as a trainer within a few months. It's like common knowledge, most of it, like without having to know the names of bones in your foot, and your head and muscles, attachments and everything. That's not the answer.
Mm-hmm.
The answer is building habits and finding triggers that help build habits, setting daily small goals to have that self-love and appreciation, and tackling like bad habits with a trigger for turning something from bad into good, and then rewarding yourself, not with food and not with something that's going to be psychologically bad, but having rewards. Like, I always say to myself, it's like every half an hour is an opportunity to get something done, every half an hour block. And the biggest tip someone can take from this massive brand is that if you get your diary, every iPhone, whatever phone you have a diary, you have your calendar. On your days where you're not actually at work, your work time is your work time, either for someone else or if you're working for yourself. Every half an hour outside there is your opportunity time. Every single hour. You got 6 hours, you only need 6 or 7 hours of sleep. You lock them in. You have a time that you go to bed, and you have your time that you wake up. Before you start work and after you finish work and your day's off, every half an hour, write in what you can get done. And there's a lot of days where I don't get half of what's written done, but I get twice as much done as if I have nothing written. So every half an hour block, like it's this morning, it was like, get up, make my meal prep, go for a surf, check out the new office that I'm looking at moving into, one of the rooms, get back to all my online clients on WhatsApp, podcast with you, another podcast with another guy. And, you know, like I have it set down. If I didn't have that diary and written down, like I grew up with ADHD, slight dyslexia. I got told at school and when I was growing up that I would never, you know, amount to anything. And now people at school that got a really high grade, that were really, really educated at school, they ask me for advice on business, or ask me advice on fitness, or ask me like, how do you look like you're having a good life? Is it even real? And I said, well, it's nothing to do with money. Money is actually just an imaginary bullshit. That's what it really is. But you need money to get time. And then when you have that time, you make the most of it every single half an hour. So if that's one thing you could take away, I would do that, man. That's what helped change my life.
Yeah. No, I agree. That is so important, because a lot of people are chasing the money right now, especially in this world of upcoming, like social media has made the hustle, you know, and the grind and entrepreneurship, you know, like Gary Vee, just making it just so involved in trying to just go for everything. But a lot of people are getting the wrong misconception of money. But really in reality, what you're wanting is you're wanting time. You're wanting time to go do something with family, your loved ones, stuff like that. And it kind of reminds me, my background, I played a lot of sports as a kid. And basketball was my number one, even though I was never going to make it to college level because 5'6". But
I think it's funny. Sorry to stop you there. I'm only just over 5'7", or on 5'7".
mm-hmm.
And every Sunday, me and my other short mates go and play basketball together.
Oh yeah, it's funny because I mean I love it, and I mean I was good for my level, but there's just no way gonna be able to compete against 6-foot guards and stuff like that, right?
No, you're not gonna get asked to play for a team.
Yeah.
But in saying that, dude, Phil Heath came from professional basketball.
True. Phil Heath actually, yeah, he played college ball, and then he came and now he's Mr. Olympia. Like, look at that transition.
I preferred Phil Heath's physique and everything when he was playing basketball. But basketball wasn't going to make him a multi-millionaire driving around Lamborghinis and being the number one bodybuilder in the world. And I think with him, it was like he likes to prove everyone wrong. Like, he loves it. Like, him being a short basketball player, playing at big time level, done. And then after that, he was like, well, I can't really go much more forward than this. Like, I've hit my genetic kind of limit. And then he's like, wow, like, I'm jacked as fuck playing basketball without even putting effort into being a bodybuilder. Within 4 years, complete pro, one of the biggest guys. Within 4 years, some guys are training for 20 years to get to his level. So as they call him the gift, I think he did it really well.
Mm-hmm.
But continue with your sport.
I'll go back to that because I want to talk about kind of the time management of what you're talking about every half an hour, because I kind of have a similar deal I was taught. But what was I going to say? I don't know, the time management. So every 15 minutes, they would make us block. I did this basketball camp, right? And it was my very first time going away from home and like staying in a dorm place somewhere at like this high level basketball camp 5 hours away or whatever, right? So, and I've never really had the experience of time management before because I was still pretty young. And they would have the schedule laid out almost in 5-minute blocks, but you had pretty much like 15-minute blocks of here's where you eat, here's where the amount of time you have to take to travel to here, here's where we have our meeting for the team, and then here's the practice time, fill out the whole entire day. And at first I'm like, holy shit, this is a lot to do, like, right? Because there's so much stuff to do. But then as time went on, it was like, wow, I got all this done, and it was so much easier than if I had nothing written down, because it's just like, okay, you don't have to think about it, right? And I think a lot of energy is wasted on thinking and worrying, and
Yes.
worrying is like actually like a psychosocial thing that I've been learning right now is to actually schedule time. I don't know if you've ever done this, but to actually schedule time out of your day to actually worry. Like,
yeah,
make it something that you're like, okay, between 5 and 5:15, I'm gonna just worry my heart out. Like, worry as much as I want about whatever the hell is going on in my life. And if you're going through the day and you like have this urge of you're starting to worry, just immediately just say, oh, I'll just worry about it later. Right now, I'll go with the flow, and I have that time set out. And before you know it, what they've seen is you tend to work out the problem throughout the day without even worrying about it. Or you'll just forget about it once you get to the scheduled time. You know what I mean?
I wish that some people like if anyone's listening and they've got worry time, because our brain waves work on a different level where we're in overdrive, like to the point where when I'm writing in pen and paper, I'll be writing the word, and number one, the handwriting's horrible because I'm thinking faster than I can physically write. And then sometimes I'll like write the letters that's at the end of the word before I get to it. So let's say we're writing fitness. Luckily, I've wrote fitness a lot, so I don't have to stuff this up. But at a younger age or new words, when I'm in a rush, I'll be like FITNS. And it's like I've missed letters in between and then have to go back and rub it out because my brain's like, we know what fitness is, bang, let's write the thing and then let's get to the end. So when it comes to not worrying about it, it's like it's nearly fixated. But I think that's what people really need. And I think it doesn't matter that I think everyone can have bits of ADD. It's not something that you're either like highly diagnosed. You've got worse versions, but I think everyone can have bits of dyslexia, ADD. People say, oh, you just did something stupid or dumb when you're in school, or you said something that was out of context. You spoke before your mentor and it was something silly. That could be umbrellaed under a dysfunction or whatever, but it's just people's brain working at different waves and different lengths. So if you write it down, it just takes that ease off you. You're like, it's there. Yesterday I had like 12 things written down in a 6-hour block, and I was late. I was like 2 hours behind. So I was in the time of like the task underneath, and 2 hours later I was like caught up. And it's like, if I didn't have those written down, I would have got the two things done that I can remember. I figured out as a human, I feel like we can only remember like two important things at a time.
Yeah.
Like think about it. And maybe women can do like three, but
Yeah.
dudes, it's two. It's two. And I always get my clients write down 2 goals every day. Goals are like your week to week big goals, like 6 months, 3 months, whatever. And you have your 2 tasks, your 2 things you need to do. And that could be like me. I've got the washing on. The beeper just went off, so I've got to hang my washing up. If I don't write a notification in my notes or on my calendar, I'll probably fucking forget the washing's in the washing machine and it'll be in there for 2 days and I won't know. Like this is just problems that we have.
Mhm.
And then I get my clients to write down 2 dreams. So like I've got a female client and she's meant to be working in an office and that's what she's educated for. But her dream is to be a motorbike mechanic. And like as a female that's not educated down that path, it's like it seems impossible, but I get her to write it down every week. And we're going to get there. Absolutely, we're going to get there. So,
Yeah. Isn't that cool where you can like have a client that starts out in their application or they're like you're talking with them and they start to say, I want to lose 20 pounds, right? And they have it in the first week and in the second week they're like, oh, I'm going towards my 20 pounds. And by the end of the 6 to 12 weeks, they're like, my goal is to become like a sales representative for this high level company or something
yes,
to do with a huge amount of confidence. And it's like, holy shit, that's a transition. But it's like they found the reason.
that would have been their dream. And no one wants to mention their dream out loud. They're like, nah, if you mention it out loud, people think you're crazy. And yeah, maybe your friends, like your closest friends, sometimes they don't want to see you do well because you're at their level and they think if you do better that you're going to leave them or they're going to feel less about themselves. Like you have high school friends, man. Like how old are you at the moment?
I'm 21.
So you're finished high school and you've become a trainer?
Yeah, so I'm in my last semester of college, of university. And so I'll be done with that. But I've started my business. It's been going about a couple of years now.
Awesome. So
So
you've got friends from high school when you were like 17 and you're probably not friends with all of them anymore. And I think some of them you could agree that wouldn't want you to see you do well. Like some are going to be like, why the fuck would you be podcasting? No one wants to know about the shit that you do. And it's like, I think people want to listen. The age of social media is blowing up on YouTube and podcasts and Instagram. And it's actually growing really, really fast and quality wise for people that can relate to people that are actually normal people. We can't all fill the Kardashians, the pro NFL player spot. They've got their spot. But there's this massive gray area here where people want to look up to people that are realistic, that are just like, hey, this is my house. This is what I do. I don't make that much money, but I can help you do what you want to do. I'm chasing my dream. It's a little dream, but I'm chasing it. I think that's where we need to hit. And that's a stage where we're at. So that's why you're inspired. That's why you're doing this podcast.
I was going to say, that's why I reached out to you. Is exactly. Because, I mean, just connecting with the thing, like exactly what you said is 100% correct. So in high school, I played sports, come out, and I was really good at math and science, right? And so I went into school, actually. I went through about 3 years at college for mechanical engineering, okay? So I'm like going through super tough classes, physics, calculus, going through thermodynamics, so all this crazy stuff, right? And I was good at it, but I was like doing it for the wrong reasons. And so
the money.
The money. And so, and people didn't judge you when you were doing that, right? But then I started this training business and dude, if you look back, I don't know if you have this, but if you look back at the very first like videos you were taking of yourself to try to put content, I mean, you feel like you sound like an idiot, right? Like, but in that moment in time, you were just so motivated. And once you got over the hump of really giving a shit what people thought, that's when it just started to grow. You know what I mean? And so then exactly what you're saying is I reach out to you. You're more than happy to get on this because you have the same kind of goals because we want to help people with their life and nutrition and all that stuff. And so you find your niche, right? And so once you stop worrying about friends or so-called friends being better than them, I think you really find your place in the world. And then all of a sudden that's when you just explode. And this is like in anything, not just your business, but with your nutrition, like finding your accountability buddy or finding the right compatible coach or anything like that. It's like in everything in life, there's probably going to be somebody that's not going to want you to get where you want to get. Probably because they're either jealous or it's just a human nature, right? And so
It is. And the one you missed, the third one, which comes with the jealousy, is like, if you ask your friend straight face to face, would you like to see me do well? They would say yes, but would they like to see themselves do less well? So would they like to see themselves as not as successful? And they're going to say no. So I always tell people, like, you got to hang out with the right people, and you can't help everyone, because they've got friends from school that I still talk to now, and I still see here and there, and I love them. They're like best friends of years and years, but everyone's on their own journey, and you have to make sure that if you hang with birds, you'll fly. And that's not saying that those people are not as good or whatever. I don't care if someone's like not in shape or don't have a six pack. The biggest thing I've been saying to my clients at the moment is, like, they meet me face to face, we get on a video or a phone call, and I say to them, like, don't look at my Instagram or social media photos and think that's what I am. Like, I'm just giving the people what they want. It's what's popular, what's getting liked or whatnot. But if you'll notice, the last 3 months, my posts have completely drawn back from the fit guy photos and more looking at like the emotional stability side and self-love and everything. So I always had my clients, if I have a six pack and I'm in shape, I am no more value as a person than someone who's overweight. Not at all. Because that overweight person could be doing a fundraiser or doing self-development or helping children or a doctor or anything like that. I am no more value. The only thing I'm more value to is my longevity and myself. So this is what makes me happy, and that's why I do it. Mm-hmm. If someone who's overweight, if watching Netflix, eating on the couch and everything makes them happy, then go for it. But how long will you be happy for when the medication, when the doctor bills come in, when you have diabetes, when you start going through hate for yourself in the mirror? I'm more than happy for someone to say no to online coaching, to say no to personal training, to say no to healthy food and healthy ways if they're 100% happy where they are, and they have to say it to themselves every day in the mirror. Stand in front of the mirror completely naked and say, I'm 100% happy with how I am. I don't care that I'm not in shape. I love what I do as a job. I've got good people around me. I feel inspired. I can still move my body. That's really, really important. I don't care if someone's like, I'm the happiest person ever. But if you can't run with your grandchildren or run with your kids, then you're not going to be happy consistently. So think, are you happy now? And what you're doing, can that keep you happy long term? If they can say yes to that, then do what you do. You don't need my help. But for 99% of people, myself included, I always need extra help. I always need coaching. I need someone to look up to. I need to listen to YouTubes, watch YouTube of guys that inspire me, chicks that inspire me. I need to listen to podcasts of people that are in the business, fitness industry that can help me be a better coach. That's what's really important. And I think dropping the ego a few years ago, now that I'm not competing anymore after like 10 or 11 comps, and I'm working on how well I can move my body and how happy I can actually be, not to do with if I'm in shape, if I'm not peeled 6% body fat, it doesn't bother me. As long as I function well, I move well, I'm happy with what I do, and this is healthy long term, then that's what I think that's what's the most important thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I agree 100%, because I see that a lot, and a lot of people, like, social media has Instagram, right? So you have all these highlight pictures, right? Just highlights of the best moments and the best pictures and the six-pack abs. And I understand, because I go in cycles, right? Because I like to go in a gaining phase to kind of see how strong I can get, come back down, be really lean, body composition. And so I noticed a difference in people, or how many likes I was getting.
Yes.
The difference, right? And so then sometimes when I'm a little higher body fat percentage, I'll post throwbacks, right? And all of a sudden the likes are just so much more. And people see it and like it. But I think the amount of impact you have is more valuable, meaning if you gain that following from those pictures, that's awesome. That's cool. And then, like you said, you're transitioning into mind, body, and health, which I want you to go into in a second. But you transition into that, and and those people are already like kind of in tune with your account. And once you start posting that stuff, I think that's when you're able to leverage your attention to actually helping people. And in turn, it creates a more engaging audience. And I don't know if you've noticed that over the past, you said a couple months, you've been changing, but the amount of engagement you've gotten.
Well, that's the thing. Like, I can put a post up, which it's really hard. Instagram actually is, because it's owned by Facebook, I think they've gone down the road a little bit different. And I'm going to throw some real shit down now. And a lot of Instagram models and Instagram people that think they've got a big following are going to be upset that I'm saying this, because I'm bringing out some of the secrets from the inside, behind the smoke and mirrors. Nearly every single Instagram person you see that has a lot of likes on their posts and they have popular pages, they're in these Instagram groups, and they go, hey, come to my group. We've got 20 people in this group. They even use like Telegram, WhatsApp. They used to use the DM list. That still's there. It's been happening ever since a big Instagram did their algorithm change, that now the only way your posts are going to get popular and actually seen by at least half your followers or a quarter of your followers is in the first hour that you post, it looks very popular. So the robot behind Instagram has to see that people are liking and commenting on your stuff. And this was meant to help with posts that are more engaging, because a comment, the value of a comment is actually higher than the value of a like. Like, you've got people that just do like modeling photos, or like chicks that are showing like ass and stuff like that, or like my older photos where it's like running on the beach, 6-pack abs, and then the caption, because I was like, I'm too busy to write something informational. I want to get something for free. I don't want to talk about my mind, because really at the time I was so fixated on my look, so I didn't really have much mental mind body thing to talk about. And the likes were really high, but maybe the comments weren't very good, or it's just like love hearts and like, oh, you look great. But if you get someone who writes like a 5, 6, 7, 8 word comment, and then you reply to it, and then someone replies to it, and there's keywords involved, that's meant to really populate your posts and your photos, and it's going to get it onto the popular pages, and it's going to really grow your page. But the problem is, Instagram people, they've realized they get on this. They know they've got people they pay to tell them what's going on with Instagram, what's the new algorithm. And once they know what it is, then they do this thing. So you've got these groups, right? And everyone joins the group. And to be in a group, you have to accept that when someone posts and they share it to the group, even if you don't like the photo they post, even if it's like, I'm selling skinny me tea, shit that doesn't work, or waist belts that don't do shit, you have to go over to that post, like it, and then write, you look great, 3+ words. You know what I mean? And then when you post, you share your post, and they go, you look great, smiley face. And now everyone who's popular on Instagram, if you see other popular people commenting on their shit, it's like, great post, looking awesome, smiley face. Oh, you look great, great photo, smiley face. Like, it's not real. Yes. So a lot of Instagram people are not going to like that I'm saying this, but I've been there. I did the groups, and I was like trying to make it work. And I found that it just wasn't working for me, because I was losing normal people that were normal, that had normal Instagram accounts, just had like their dog in themselves, or them with their friends going to the movies. They're not gonna comment, because they're like, all these really, really attractive people are commenting on this guy's stuff, or just only models, or like athletes. Oh, like, maybe I don't fit in these comments, or, you know, they're going to look at it and go, oh, like, they're just like a group. You know what I mean? So I left all that, and I'm not saying I'm going to do it again, because when I post something good, if it can help it reach more good people, then I might go back to that. But at the moment, I'm finding that I've got people that I want to work with, and I've pulled them away from Instagram, and I've got them in my own Facebook group, or I've got them just watching my Instagram stories and replying to me when they want help. I've got them on WhatsApp, online clients. I've got like a VIP coaching system going on. And those are the people I'm spending time with. Likes on my Instagram page are lower than they've been for like a year. I'm losing more followers than I'm gaining every week. And if I said that in front of like Instagram people, oh no, don't tell anyone that. Oh fuck, like you can't, because if you're getting less likes, that means that you're not a good person, that you're less of a person than you used to be. It's like, no, you just probably showed more, you probably showed less of your ass than you did last week, or you don't have like veined 8-pack running right into your V line and wearing underwear in every photo, you know what I mean? And I've been there. There's viral photos of me going around of just like in underwear doing photo shoots and that. And when I was competing, that's where I was at. And I grew a big following from that. But that following didn't convert into like genuinely people that want to be a part of your brand and your fitness. They're people that are going to, you know, they're going to buy your clothing, or if you're going to release your own supplement brand, they're going to be like, some of them will, but the guy with only 10,000 followers, that whole 10,000 followers were built through like seeing their bulking photos and their shredding photos, seeing their pain of them losing something, seeing them talk about their real emotions and how they feel. Like, do you really think that when you go on Instagram stories or Snapchat and you follow those motivational people, do you really think that every morning they wake up absolutely perfect, all the lighting's on, and they're like out of bed, good morning.
Yep.
I'm just going to have my,
like this hashtag.
it's like my special supplement. This is the test booster and the fat burner. And if you want to get this product, ram the discount code down your throat every day until they make everything off you. And you think that they're as happy as what they do in the video. You think this is like their first time they take the video. I've been there. I can talk about these things because I can't talk about, I never fat shame people because I've never been like really overweight. Like I've had some fat on me. Like I've blown out after comps and been like, oh shit, man. Like my own friends, my family and shit, like, Jackson, you've let yourself go, dude. Like you're getting a bit on around the sides and that. But I've never been really overweight, so I'm not going to speak about how I can feel what they feel. But when it comes to people who are wondering about social media and why do you think should you wake up every morning like super happy and super motivated? No, that's fake. You're actually masking the real problems. There should be things you need to do every morning, and this is what's in my ebook, that trigger happiness, that trigger motivation. Listening to audios, going for a walk, doing cardio, not weights, actual cardio, high intensity, low intensity, long amounts of it, actually induces hormones to feel proper happiness, like brain function, like after cardio. I follow this guy called Ben Greenfield Fitness. Now, you know, a lot of trainers, online coaches and stuff, they're not going to mention someone in a podcast or a talk because they're going to feel like I might lose customers to them. All my clients, they need to go like do whatever Ben Greenfield's doing because he's an insane. He's a biohacker. You got to look him up after this. He's insane. He's somewhere in America, up in the jungle with his own. He's got a switch in his house, and he shuts down all the Wi-Fi, all the power in his whole house when he goes to bed. And then he has like battery charged things, like special things under his bed and special vibrations and binary beats he listens to. Like he's just like on another level. Like this guy's education, like he's a degree in like so many different things. He's been best-selling author many times, but I'm happy to send my clients to his stuff. And if they like any of his products or whatever, get involved in it. What I can say is people at that level, they're not going to have time to speak with people one-on-one. Like unless you're paying a big premium, like you're not going to get one-on-one premium coaching from Steve Cook or Phil Heath and actually speak to them on WhatsApp every day. I speak to my clients on WhatsApp. Every time I get a message from my clients on WhatsApp, my premium clients, I speak to them every day, and it's very affordable. $50 a week, like really, really cheap to get me every day, any question they want, voice messages back and forth. When they're going through a rough time, like Monday lunchtime, I slot out 2 hours because it's the time that I need to come in and just hit everyone with really motivational audios. Like I'm going to hold the voice down and be like, hey man, how you doing? John, you know, like I know that coming off Sunday, you might have had a cheat meal. I want to let you know that I had a cheat meal too, and I didn't let it affect me today. And let's just get up and go for that walk. Can you do that for me? Let's go for that walk right now. And they get my voice coming in with their name, and it's like personal. That's what's huge. So yeah, I think like I go on big rants and I go off track sometimes, but when we go off track, we find something we're motivated about. And I think that's the thing we're missing in this area with social media.
Yeah, no, exactly. No, I'm more than happy for you going on long rants or whatever you think, because honestly, that's when the most genuine content comes out and the
Yeah.
most valuable, in my opinion, comes out. And I couldn't agree more about the whole social media aspect of things. I even have my 8, 9-year-old sisters, right, coming to me and asking me, "Hey, how do I get abs?" I'm like, "What?" And they're like, "I I want to look like this." And they show, Instagram people that have hundreds of thousands of likes and followers and all that stuff. And I'm like, holy shit! Like it's just like ingrained at this younger age, It's all the psychology of it, and then people in high school, these girls. I mean, I have girls at college wanting to be social media influencers because they want to look like this girl, and I'm like, do you know how much editing was probably in that picture? Do you know what I mean? Like Photoshop stuff. I mean, you probably know about the secrets of that with other people, and so like it's just hard because you have somebody, and I'm glad there is people, and social media has filtered, like what I mean with like Jordan Syatt, like we are talking about. Like,
Yeah.
oh, like he's fucking real. Like he's legit because he's put his fucking blood, sweat, and tears. And like you said, like maybe he's not like, I love you, Jordan. Maybe he's not like, as good looking as the Instagram model, but he damn sure affects a lot more people. You know what I mean?
Oh, definitely. And the thing is, that's what makes him so popular on his Instagram, because people can relate to him. Like he doesn't have, he
He's so
never,
good with words.
he's never sold a product by showing his abs or anything. And there's times where he's been really lean. And I honestly think we could take someone like Jordan, and I could send them like a mobile phone iPhone app like Snapseed. If anyone wants to know how to edit photos better, just download Snapseed. It's free. Like I'd love to give tips. Like I love to help. There's a difference between fixing lighting in a photo and then actually editing it so you look better. Like for me, lighting is really key. I think cameras and stuff, they just don't pick up the right lighting, especially iPhones. So I'll use Snapchat to fix lighting. But you can, if you learn how to use that app well, you can like change things in the photo that you thought wasn't possible. Like if someone's in the background, like one of the things I learned how to do is I was in Bali and me and my girlfriend have this photo. You might have seen it on my Instagram, and it went fucking viral. Like it was just us kissing at a waterfall, and yes, like couple goals, like that's all crazy. But it was good to get a photo that went viral without just me in it. And it was actually because of my girlfriend being in it that it really went viral, because we were genuinely happy. It wasn't a photo shoot. I gave our tour guide, this little Indonesian Bali guy, a camera. And I just said, it was just a cheap Sony camera, like a little handheld. I was doing some vlogging. And I said, can you like take a heap of photos, like zoom in or whatever? Like he doesn't know how to use it. And he took like 10, and that was like 2 of them. I put them together and I put it straight up on Instagram. And one thing that really bothered me in the background of the photo was that there was like someone behind us at the waterfall. So it was like, we're not at the waterfall by ourselves. Like there was actually people everywhere. So I want to make it look like it's more special. So I used this tool on Snapseed, and I like smudged the person out. I couldn't believe I could do it. I'm like, you could do anything. But anyway, back to the story. That photo is seen by over 10 million people, like literally 10 million people. The impression and reach went over 1 million a few times. I get tagged in that photo on like travel pages and couple goal pages like every day. And then people tell me that they see it all the time without tagging me. And I haven't put my name on it. I don't like to ruin a photo and put like at Jackson JFit, like my Instagram name or whatever. And I'm like, I feel like that's me being like, oh, you should know who I am. Or like I don't care. Like if a photo goes viral, if the person really wants to find out who's in it, they'll probably find out who's in it. But anyway, that's what I was saying. Like if we got Jordan Syatt and I took some photos with him just with an iPhone of him like in the right lighting with his shirt off, we could make him look like these Instagram models. I'm telling you.
Yeah, and I know he knows how to do all that stuff, get shredded. I mean, he knows how to do it, and he has been in certain points because he's done powerlifting, but he's also like dieted down, and he has a few pictures that you'll see that he'll make fun of himself. He'll make fun of people who sell their product based on their shirts off, like their abs, and so he'll do like 10-second transformation. I don't know if you've done those. I've done one of those where you like put your stomach out and then you flex. But it's just so real, and he's so honest. Like, so he has no filter. You know what I mean? Like a lot of people will get butt hurt. They'll just like get hurt by people saying shit, But for some reason he can turn around and then relate to them. So it's almost like it was motivational rather than attacking them. You know what I mean? And so,
Yeah.
uh,
People got to think. Sorry, buddy, just something I've got to quickly say. Like people got to think about the people that actually listen to this podcast, the people that actually comment on, like genuinely comment on your Instagram and actually want to be a part of your business, isn't going to be people that are other Instagram models, or isn't someone who's going to like really be obsessed with abs. Like, yes, if you can show that you've bulked and got leaner, you know the knowledge on how to help yourself, but you've got to be able to change like at least 100 different body types. I believe it's like 50 to 100 different body types. People that want to do just vegetarian, vegan, people that have diabetes, people that have lower back injuries. You've got to change people, all different types of people, and you've got to transform their life and their mind, so their mind and body, before you can say that you're a really educated coach. Or you can just relate to people on a personal level and just talk about the pains that you go through and post photos that are just not so great and more average. And yeah, total likes is going to be down, but just look at Jordan's side. Like overall, like long term, it's going to go a lot better. And I hate, like, in saying this, I go back to still posting photos that have like good angles of myself. And I've got to remind myself, like, especially doing this podcast, I'm like, I can't wait to get off and I can do a post about what we're speaking about, and like post a photo where this is like the same day, 2 photos taken the same day, and one of me looking like horrible, not horrible, but like not so great. And then one that's like the lighting's fixed up and it was my good angle. Like I'd love to do that. That'd be really good.
yeah, yeah, no, that's awesome. I'm glad.
You there, bro?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
There we go. Yeah, no, I agree, and it's funny. You're saying this and stuff. I actually went through that too, for sure, because I competed in men's physique. I didn't make it to the to your level, but I had that same. You become so conceited, and you become so into yourself and about looks, and you ingrain it in your head of like, I'm motivating people, right? So I'm justifying that me doing all this stuff is correct, but in reality, I probably I drove away the people that actually cared about
Yeah.
me. You know what I mean? And so you attract people that think you look good, but they really don't give a shit about you. And so I think that is a main thing to come back to when people are wanting to lose weight with your clients and stuff. Like, don't lose weight to make somebody else attracted to you, right? Like if you want to lose weight, like lose weight to look good for yourself. Like you said, look in the mirror every day and say, man, I look fucking good. Like I'm happy with myself. You know what I mean? Like I'm healthy, I'm happy. That's what you should be focused on rather than, hey, Susie's fucking I'm gonna get to where she's gonna be asking for my number or whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
Like
I mean, let's talk about something that maybe, because I think we'd have a lot of male followers. People have this misconception that you should have like an equal amount of female and male followers, but it doesn't matter. Even if most of your followers are straight or whatever, you're still going to have a male is still going to be followed by more men, because they're looking up to you for advice and like clothing and how to train, and they're just like they can relate to you more. And a female is going to have more female followers. So in saying that, I think we should talk about, like, let's go back to maybe where some of the younger guys that are following us, or not age, but at a period before, because we both are in good shape. We're both confident about ourselves we don't have to be super lean, but we're confident in ourselves that we know how to organize the mentality to train and the mentality to have strength, and when we bulk, to not worry about the body fat. So let's go back down to, tell me more about when you first, what was your first motivator? And I think for me, my motivator when I first, like, lifted my first dumbbell, like I was young. So I was like, I'm going to get some hot chicks muscles. You know what I mean?
hey, yeah, no. So I guess surprising enough, I was very, I guess, humble, like as a teenager in high school and stuff. I was very thankful with my family. It's not like we were just rich, but we weren't poor. Like it was just middle class. But the thing is my dad, to get to that point, and my mom, like both of them, they work their asses off. Like they work hard. My dad is a landscaper. Like he freaking does a bunch of mowing grass, landscaping, like hard work that I used to do that stuff, and I used to be in the construction of things, and I learned exactly what I don't want to be doing when I grow up, right? And
Yeah.
so it taught discipline. And so then playing basketball, like I come back to, like I made sure, because my dad ingrained it, is like I was going to be the hardest working person in that gym at any time, no matter what, and you're going to know it. You know what I mean? So I have a really competitive attitude, a really competitive personality. So when I kind of finished up that last game of high school, senior night or whatever it was, it like hit me. It's like, holy shit. Like, it's like, where am I going to spend all of my time? Because I spent hours and hours and hours and hours and hours of time trying to increase that craft. Right. So I had to find an outlet, and I was always physically active. And so I got into the gym. I always lifted weights, but I never really knew how. I thought I did, right? And but I really got into it. I went, yeah, exactly. Yep. Yeah, I've been benching, like just trying to straighten up, but yeah.
Elbows out when they do push ups. You're like,
Like, oh shit, don't hurt yourself. Yeah. So that was obviously us me in high school. And but what happened was I went to local supplement shop, trying to get all this information. He's like, hey, he told me to start reading magazines to try to get some information on reading about nutrition. I didn't even know what a calorie was. And so I had this guy, and I saw this poster, right? I saw this poster in the supplement shop, and it said, I think it was 2015, I believe, Empire Classic. And that's the show up here in Northwest region. And it was like these couple shredded guys on the front of it. And I'm like, holy shit. I mean, I would look like that. Like, that'd be cool. I was like, okay, this is it. So I hired that coach, and great mentor, taught me a lot. And then I got shredded to the point where my family thought I was going to die. Like, I thought, you know what I mean? Like, they thought you were like going to be skin and bones and die. And so, but I was competitive. Like, that process at first wasn't about me posting pictures. It was about me doing something that I was just to be competing with somebody. But then as time went on, the better I looked and the more people gave me attention. It's the more that you fed off of that attention. You start more about your ego and yourself. And then a steamroll. And it was a time of what I call learning. And the thing is that people like probably say, do you regret any of that? No, I don't regret any of it, just because I look back and I'm like, fuck, like I was a douchebag sometimes, but I would never learned it, and I would have never went through the process of being able to relate to my clients right now, because then I would have no perspective, right? So that's kind of like my background. I went through and I did a handful, and I'm still going to compete again, but more for the science part and not for attention. Like, I've been posting so much content about podcasts and videos about nutrition and exercise and stuff. I'm really trying to just, like you said, gain that following, but it's actual real following, not people just with the groups and all that shit. So that's kind of like my story. Like I said, I'm almost done with last semester of college. Have some cool things going to be happening this summer, but yeah. So I guess mine was super competitive, gained this huge ego because I thought I looked good, when in reality, like, come on, like when you first do your first show and you're 18 and you don't have genetics behind you, like, you don't look jacked as fuck. You look skinny as shit, right? Yeah. But yeah. So then I just kind of went from there. Started learning about nutrition and the training aspect of like what my coach was teaching me. And then I totally changed my major and went into helping people and learning about how to optimize, training. So I really like the athlete side of things, just for that reason. But I mean, I love helping anybody. Like you said, to be a good coach, you really got to see all aspects, the 50 to 100 body types, because, like, there's so much potential out. There's so many people looking for information. And I think it's our job as coaches to make sure and point them in the best possible direction, even if you don't know, to give them some source that does know. Because there's, like I said in the very beginning, there's a lot of people that are trying to take your money, and there's a lot of bad coaches because it's so easy to sell coaching. You know what I mean?
Yeah. The internet, like anyone can make a website in 1 hour, free website in 1 hour, pay for a $20 domain once a month, put up easily template pictures of like fitness people. You know, they can put up transformations, whatever. They can put up their own transformation that can be done in 7 days or 1 day, you know what I mean, the bullshit ones. And then they ask you for like a subscription or whatnot. And it's like, just think about it a little bit more and maybe look at someone who is offering more of a premium level and ask them straight up, like, what will it cost for me to speak with you one-on-one on a weekly basis? And you can't be asking someone with like they're super popular for that because their time is just like they're saturated in what they can make by selling you know, not cookie cutter plans, but yeah, kind of. They've got like 15 different cookie cutter plans and they call it custom or personalized training, but it's still kind of like they've got a body type that's already like yours and you just slot in there well. So, you know, throw a curveball at them and say, can I speak to you personally on the phone and about premium online coaching? And that's the biggest tip I'd say. And I've just started going towards offering that now. We'll see how it goes. Obviously, it might get to a point where I get too many and then I obviously make it a slightly more expensive. Or I just figure a way how to deal with more people. This is one thing I want people to understand as well. If anyone's listening to this or anyone who's wanting to be an online trainer or an online coach or anything, be a personal trainer for at least 2 or 3 years successfully, one-on-one, actual personal trainer. Get paid, lose out some weeks, struggle, get kicked out of, like, move gyms, work with athletes, work with everyday people, work with disability, work with people with brain problems, and then be an online coach, because you're not actually a fucking trainer if you've gone from like you got shredded through someone else's coaching and then you made a website and you did, like, in America it's like a 2-week course to be a personal trainer. In Australia it's a 1-year course, man. It's not easy. And then you start personal training people, and because you've got 6-pack abs and you have all the photos from your last comp or your last photo shoot or your last, you know, when you went to Cancun, you have mad photos, or Mexico of you looking lean, and you just repost them every 3rd day and say to people, hey, like, look at me. Do you want to look like me? Click on my new program or whatever. And it's like, you can get that from bodybuilding.com if that's what you want. But if you want that one-on-one connection, then just work as a personal trainer and find people's why, find out people really click. Like, I found that the biggest problem, if I could give everyone tips right now who are wanting to lose body fat, is don't get any calories through liquid. That's number one. Like, if you could just apply that rule, literally, this is free advice. Start it today. You'll do a 12-week transformation, absolutely free. If this does help you, to anyone listening, maybe send me a message in 12 weeks and say thank you. Do not get any calories from any liquid. If you're going to have a coffee, I know some people in America are crazy about coffee, have a straight black coffee with almond milk or something, very low calorie. I'm talking no Powerade, Gatorade, all that shit. It's not healthy. Stop taking branched chain aminoids that are spiked with artificial sweeteners. I could go on all day about artificial sweeteners. We should do another podcast about how the effects of gut health with artificial sweeteners, because people who are doing like 0-calorie mothers and monsters and 0-calorie Pepsi and Coke and 0-calorie branched chain aminos that taste good. Basically, if you could just cut out all liquid calories or artificial sweetening and just get your calories from food, we could stop it there. Like, I don't even care if you have like hot dogs and that here and there. Like, obviously eat things that are going to fuel your brain and your function, but just one thing, no calories from liquids. Just have water, green tea, you know, and you will lose weight. You will look better. You will pull on muscle. Your gut health will be better. Mm-hmm. What's your opinion?
I agree 100%. I think that gut health, I was actually talking about this with another guy, another coach, and gut health is so important, so much more important than people think. And a lot of things nowadays are like, oh, try this 0-calorie freaking anything now, right? It's like, try this 0-calorie this and that. And, you know, in a time and place, like every so often I'll, you know, drink a 0-calorie soda if I'm, for some reason, I don't know. I really don't usually like it. The only thing I like to use would probably be the branch chains, but that's usually just during training,
Yeah.
or whatever. But honestly, yeah, this artificial sweetener stuff. A person asked me the other day, and I said, look, like your body. And I don't know how much like about this. I don't know a lot, but what I've seen is like it actually sometimes creates more of a hunger response because it's like this artificial sugar, and so when your body's like ingesting sugar, it's like priming itself to eat. You know what I mean? Like it just wants food. And so if you're constantly having things that like taste like actual sugar, then you're constantly going to be hungry because if you notice, like when you have candy or if you have something that's higher in sugar, then exactly, like you never get full because it's like that leptin ghrelin hormones like making you hungry and hungry and hungry. And so you never get full. There's no like fiber, there's no protein or anything. So, that's happening when you drink those artificial sweeteners, in my opinion. So this depends. Like I let people, if it works and their body type is more of like a skinnier build, right? And it really doesn't affect them. Like, whatever. If you can get away with it, then it's not a
Yeah.
huge deal. But to really optimize, because I see like with competitors too, it'll retain water sometimes and it'll upset their stomach. And you do not want to upset your stomach.
I'll break it down because my mum's actually a naturopath, and I've had 15 years of experience around my mother. Well, me and my mum are very close. I'm a big mama's boy, man. Like, 'cause my father left us. Well, we left him when I was like 2 years old. So me and my mum are just super close. And like, she was a personal trainer. She was a bodybuilder when she was younger, man. There's like photos of her jacked. Like, she probably got leaner than I ever did. She's just like taught me the whole completely natural way, health, herbalist, homeopathy, like. So basically, we've learned so much about gut health. And the reason why I know so much about gut health and that I can talk about it on this passionate level is because I fucked my gut health so bad. After 4 comps and shredding down, I spent most of 2000 and 2015, I spent most of the year like dieting on like training and dieting, like just hectic. And the reason why I call it dieting is because I still have a good diet now, but I'm not like dieting. I'm not like shredding like all the time. And what I was doing is like a little bit of artificial sweeteners. But the thing is, I didn't realize artificial sweeteners are in absolutely everything. I'm talking all your proteins, all your branched aminos, anything that tastes okay, all your drinks, even your normal sugar flavored drinks. Sometimes I have artificial sweeteners. Cereal is starting to put in it, like everything you possibly touch and think. Like look on the labels, look for things that are artificial colors or sweeteners, and they will fuck your gut. So I went through SIBO, which is a small intestine bacterial overgrowth, and that's like a slight thing, like leaky gut, basically a different version of leaky gut. And it's where you bloat from like healthy foods, and you're like, what the fuck? And then you can't have like heaps of vegetables, or you can't have this. As soon as you touch milk, you just go bad. And basically, the thing that I can help everyone with, we're not going to go over fully gut health. We'll do another podcast for that. But a quick tip about artificial sweeteners is if something comes in, think about this properly. If you taste something and it tastes sweet, do you really think that just because on paper that there's 0 calories? Like our bodies are super smart. And what happens is you might not put on body fat like when you actually drink it because it's like 0 calories, but you get an insulin response. And insulin is like the master of how you actually gain muscle and lose body fat. Insulin is like the top dog. And that's why people with diabetes need to be on medication for the insulin and whatnot. So basically, long-term use of artificial sweeteners, so even just once or twice a day, will actually create your insulin levels to be not sensitive or too sensitive. I don't know the exact term for it, but basically it'll ruin your stability on how you take in carbs. Mm-hmm. So how you control carbs. Some people can be like super lean and you see them eating carbs all the time. It's because they handle carbs really well because their insulin is super healthy. Then you got someone who's like young, but also like put a bit of body fat on. It's like their gut is inflamed. They're not healthy. Their insulin does not handle carbohydrates and sugars very well. So there's a study shows that even if you just went low calorie for like 6 months and you use artificial huge amounts of weights, as soon as you get your calories back to maintenance or slightly above maintenance, where we all really want to be just on maintenance and playing above maintenance whenever we want to perform well at sport, to perform well at lifting, to be happy, to have good sex, to have the right hormones. We want to be able to play just above maintenance and then work off above maintenance calories with training. So basically, if anyone's listening, just next time you buy, like, finish your range amino, finish your protein, whatever. But next time you go in and go to the store to buy your supplements, just get something that doesn't taste good, that's not artificially sweetened, or it's actually sweetened by actual sugar. Yeah. Because I'd rather you have a little bit of sugar than be masking in a problem of long-term artificially sweetened addiction.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, that's exactly kind of what I was referring to. You're right about the insulin response. So I think the term you were looking for was insulin resistance. And so all that is what exactly you're right is the body's.
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah, the body is not able to, like, so for example, you said type 2. Let's give a little science right here. So type 2 diabetes, right, is when usually people are overweight and they're eating carbohydrates and then their body produces the hormone insulin. Okay? And then what happens though is the insulin can't really bind on to the carbohydrate to shuttle it into the muscle. So it can't utilize it, right? So then it's going to be potentially stored as fat. And that's the whole problem. So I think the artificial sweeteners, I think you're right. What I've seen from the studies is it might actually cause that response to have a constant insulin response. And then it makes it really difficult to like prolong fat loss, like throughout the whole day. You know what I mean? So I think that I agree with you 100%. I actually use for my like BCAs, I'll have the unflavored, you know, it tastes like shit, but unflavored, and I'll have something mixed with it that has a little bit, but just to pretty much get it down. But I noticed that my gut health, like me absorbing the liquid, is so much better during training. Because I don't know if you've ever had like something like, if you've had artificial sweetener during training, right? And then like during training you're drinking it, and then you kind of get like an upset stomach, and it totally destroys the training session because your body can't absorb it very well.
Well, the thing is, our stomach is our second brain. So we want the blood when we're training to be mostly in the brain, so we can get good technique, we get good endorphins, and we really, really like emotionally, physically, and motivated to be there. If you eat, like, let's just have a quick question. Like, if anyone who's listening, when you have a big meal, you feel kind of relaxed and you don't really feel like doing anything. You don't feel like going a run. You don't even feel like studying really, like after quite a big meal. You need like half an hour of like the Mexican Caesar or whatever it is, where you just like lay down or whatnot. And it's good that they do that way. So if you're drinking something while you're training and it's giving you a response where blood has to go into the stomach to like create function, because water is like very minimum function for our gut. Like, it doesn't really need to go through there. But if there's other things like going through, like artificial sweeteners, then yeah, your blood's going to leave your brain and it's going to be going down in other areas and trying to figure out where to put this artificial sweetener, because really it's not designed for humans. We didn't have it. Like, for me, my number one goal with myself and all my clients is let's get 80% of everything we put into our body from a paleo style diet. I'm not going to rave on about keto. I'm not going to say you have to like go keto. I'm not going to say you have to be strict paleo, because like there's certain things I eat that aren't in paleos. If I go to a social event, I'm out at dinner, I'm like, I'm just going to kind of like join in. I live a life that is enjoyable. I eat cheat meals often. I don't like calling them cheat meals. I just eat like not so healthy here and there just to show people that it's possible. A big plate of nachos, like enchiladas, sushi here and there. Like, I do that. But 70 to 80% of my intake, liquid and food, comes from what would be around in the most ancient times, if everyone had like fruit and vegetables and meat around. So like for me, I'm fully supportive. I've got a good friend on Instagram. He's like one of the most shredded vegans ever. Like, and he's like vegan from birth. And he's so wicked. He's in LA then, and he's growing a massive following of vegans and vegetarians. But the thing is, he was born eating that stuff like from a young age. So his gut's used to that. For someone like me, I tried to do vegan for 2 weeks and I got worse SIBO, my small intestine bacterial overgrowth, because I can't have any vegan proteins like beans, legumes, too much soy, it really upsets my stomach. And I think if I worked on it for like a year, I do believe like long term when I'm older, I can stop dropping out meat and stuff out of my diet. But I think from being from a European background, I have an Italian French background. Coming from the colder parts, like I like my body functions better on good fats, and my body functions really good from animal fats. And I know this sounds like bizarre, but I can get great results by still having healthy animal fats. Like I can eat half a chicken like in one sitting, and it'll fit sweet with my stomach. Like it's a lot of food, but I'm not putting carbs in with it though. I'll have like, I make massive, I call them the J-Fit super salad bowls, like summer super salad bowls. And I get these stupid bowls, massive bowls, and I fill it with heaps of green, heaps of capsicum. You got carrots for texture, like the crunch. Everything's basically like raw. And then I put in like quarter of a chicken on there, and I can have that twice a day. And I can get leaner, plus other meals as well. And I can get leaner, but if I use like lots of carbohydrates, artificial sweeteners, try to use low calorie, low fat options that are at the shops, like everything that says low fat. If I try to use those options, my calories can be the exact same, but my brain function, my gut health, and my like 4 to 5, 6 week pinch tests and muscle growth results come down less beneficial. And for me, like I think go with what's working well for you and just study on yourself. Like try like moderate carbs, moderate fat, moderate protein. That's a really good. I think everyone should have a little bit of fats, a little bit of carbs, and a little bit of protein. Yeah. Not too much protein, not too much carbs. Like to keep it in the same. And then when you get more advanced, once you're starting to get results, then you can try like a lower fat, high carb with a moderate protein, and that might be better for you. You might be able to get more carb intake. Your stomach, your gut health's really good. You don't get cloudy thoughts from the carbohydrates. Your insulin sensitivity is really good. But then I would really recommend like 90% of the people that are listening to try like healthy fats like avocado, nuts and everything throughout the start of the day with protein. Have, either do intermittent fasting or time restricted eating where you're only eating like a 12-hour window in the day, or you fast for the first 4 or 5 hours when you wake up and make it like a full 15 to 16-hour fast. Then have like a salad with the only carbohydrates I get from my first meal usually comes from just like greens and like vegetables, like really low carb vegetables. So I usually call that more of a fats protein meal because I have avocado, some olive oil, some MCT oils or whatnot in my coffee, and then I have some nuts maybe, and then chicken with a little bit of the fat on it. Like it's not always the cleanest piece of chicken. Like you can have a little bit of fat on it. If that meat has like, you need to eat with common sense. You need to have a look at your food and whatnot, and a meal plan is going to get you there. You're going to get really good results. But on every day, for more variety, you want to get something like on my 12-week mind and body transformation, we have options for every meal, and some of the options are more like fat protein based, and some of the options are more carb protein based, but they're the same calories. So really, at the end of the day, the most important things is calories in, calories out. But if you obsess over calories in, calories out, you will go towards artificially sweetened. You'll go towards low fat products because one fat is equal to 9 calories and 1 carb is equal to 4 calories. So even though you're having something small on your plate that's avocado, it's going to be more calories than a small amount of rice. So you'd think, the rice is going to be better because it's less calories and stuff. But you've got to think about brain function, the way your insulin is. Not every single person, like everyone's going to have a different way they handle carbohydrates. Everyone's going to have a different way they digest fats or animal fats or animal meat or even raw vegetables. Some people can't digest raw vegetables properly. Like for me, I can't have canned beans, legumes and stuff like that. I just can't do it. Straight away cramps, brain goes really bad. My SIBO picks up, leaky gut, terrible bowel movements, like fighting. It's horrible. So I have to go with what works well with me. Like what works best for you.
Yeah, no, I agree that everybody's different, right? Like exactly what you're saying is, I don't have like the gut stuff that you've had to work around. So, but I have some videos and stuff and some information for people like kind of based on body type, and so it kind of tries to help you push into those macro ratios you're talking about. Like I believe too, everybody should be moderate protein, moderate carb, moderate fat, like starting out, and you'll get results, right? Because you're just cleaning it up and you're having less calories, like you said. And so then from there, you can really see what makes you feel the best and what gets you the best
Yeah.
result. And so for
I
me,
think
go ahead.
you can keep going. Sorry, so keep going.
So for me, I like to like my body metabolizes carbohydrates very efficiently. So I like to jack my carbs higher and my protein higher and have my fats a little lower. There's a
This is
couple.
perfect. This is an absolute perfect podcast, and I love that you said that because I could tell that you're like that because you come from like a sporty background, kind of like you grew up on like moderating carbs. You haven't really ruined your gut health, so carbs seem to be going really well. So this is perfect. So like the viewers and the listeners can be like, well, it's working for fats and proteins, mostly for Jackson, and then Austin's more into like the carbohydrates. So if they can get to the middle level and then play both sides, and they've got something to relate to. We're not those trainers that are saying like keto's the only way. Buy our keto program.
Exactly. No. There is so many. My old mentor would say there's so many ways to skin a cat, right? And it all depends on which one that you can adhere to, and one that it fits you, makes you feel good. Because I know a lot of people like yourself that they need, like for example, I have a client right now, and she said that she started doing intermittent fasting and keto at the same time. She had chronic yeah, she did started doing like chronic. She had chronic migraines and like all of this. Just her mental health was just like tired all the time, and she was drinking like 5 to 10 cups of coffee a day. Just trying to get through. And I'm like, wow. And then she said, then a couple months ago, I tried to get into keto, and now it's relieved my uh, gut or my gut problems. My mental clarity is a lot better, and so we really dove into that, and she loves it. And I can't do keto. Like I've tried to get into ketosis, and like no way, not for me. And so I definitely love using carbohydrates just because like it is your body's first primary source of energy, but at the same time, like you said, it might not digest well with you. And so using fats, like you said, avocados, I like to use grass-fed butters. I like to use, olive oil, like you're saying. I totally agree with all that stuff. And I usually see that, I don't know about with you, but I usually see people that do well with more of like a high protein, medium fat, low carb diet that are more of like a huskier build person,
Yeah, yeah.
more of like a bigger waist circumference and like, just thicker, bigger boned. Those people seem to do a little better on that diet. And people like me, and I'm more of like a skinnier build, seem to do a little better on carbohydrates. But
And there's a reason. There's a reason for that because like people that have like a slightly thicker waist, it's not just genetic. Their bones aren't thicker. It usually means they already have inflammation in the gut, and that's why they put body fat on. So the inflammation and the gut bacteria isn't right, and carbohydrates can give the growth to gut bacteria in the wrong way, and fats and protein going low carbohydrate, which really means when I say low carbohydrate for anyone, like I'm still eating like over 100 grams of rice, like cooked a day, like I get 2 packets of rice a day. I'm still eating like a big sweet potato, stuff like that. But I mean, like I'm not trying to reach 3,000 calories with low fat and carbs because I could just be eating carbs like a fair bit of them. So for me, I want my stomach to be a bit smaller, and I don't want that inflammation to start. And I totally agree. Like you can look at the body types, and once you've had some like work with a lot of clients like you have, and the science behind insulin, you can kind of guess what's going to work for them better, and then we can just change it over time.
yeah.
On that note, I've just got 3 missed calls from my next podcast that I've got to be on. So I'm happy he gave us an extra half an hour. This guy is awesome, and I'll send you the link for this next podcast I'm doing. He's a movement specialist. He's like his Instagram is AF_move, and he's like crazy like mobility specialist. So it's going to be very diverse. Like we're going to really talk about movements and how movements and rehab and stuff like that are going to go through. So, man, thank you so much for inviting me to your podcast.
You, man. I really appreciate you being on here. I think there's a lot of good information because we come from different backgrounds, and I had a pleasure. So what I'm going to do for people who are listening on the AP podcast right now, I'm going to put in Jackson's Instagram, his email, his contact information. So if you want to reach out to him, if you have any questions, he's more than happy to answer them along with me. I'll put my stuff in the description box as well. So other than that, Jackson, I guess if you guys like this information, if it helps somebody out, like you said, in 12 weeks, if it did, shoot us a message and say, that it did, because that's why we do what we do. So other than that, give us a subscribe if you like it. Uh, uh, Comment any other stuff that you guys would like to hear about, because, I would love to have Jackson back on the podcast. But other than
Yeah,
that,
if you guys are interested in learning about gut health and natural remedies, I'm I'm designing a really good thing, and I'm happy to give free information about that. Also, I've got a free ebook, 21 science proven ways to lose fat and gain muscle, and we've done this at the same time as well. People say it's impossible. We've done it with over 300 or 400 people now. So that's a free ebook. If you want that, just go to my website, jacksonjohnson.fitness, or if the website's not responding, or if I've changed it by the time you listen to this, my Instagram is at JacksonJFit. And that's it. The rest you better find us. And thank you so much, Austin, and I look forward to coming back.
yeah, man. Hey, until next time, see you later. Have fun on the next podcast.
Thanks, dude. See you, dude.